Rolling Stones, Brown Sugar. How are you? What day is it? Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's raining. Uh, this is working though. There's always a there's always a scary bit where I don't know if you remember early days of this. I did the whole show. Just I didn't know it wasn't broadcast. um, doing this for a year. I was going to stop this Sunday because I start pre-production, but someone pointed out that a year would be another week of this, so I might do another week just so I can say I've done a whole year. But why? What difference does it make? I could say I did a whole year for free, 300 show, whatever it is, right? I don't know, at least 250. Free half hour, and people would go, "You still doing it?" I go, "No." I go, "Right." I could do. As I say, I've done over 1 billion 3 minutes of this, right? It's 250, 300 shows. If I sold one, if I tried to sell one, it'll go, fuck off. Not buying that. Greedy bastard. Where are you? Camberwell, straight away. Missouri, Canada, more general. Newcastle. Yeah, so it was. People say it's a chilly morning there. I don't know where they are. They're saying it's chilly here. Canada. Canada's coming through. A lot in Canada. Can't wait to go to Canada. Well, can't wait to go anywhere. Can't wait to do all my shows that I was meant to do. Manchester. The first one back. The first one back is Leeds Arena. That's the first show back. But it might not happen because it's before. It's like 2 days before they said big gigs are come back. Vancouver, Colorado, Vancouver, Switzerland, California, Indonesia, Glasgow, Los Angeles. I'm just saying Illinois. Right, let's do some questions. Right, Bella. The perks of being me are great hair. Yeah, you know. Queen of Zoomies. Yeah. I can outrun any dog because you're part greyhound. Guilt-free snoozing for 23 hours a day. That's lazy for a dog. That's cat territory. I can choose any stick I want. No taxes. No, you don't pay tax. No, you don't earn money though, do you? Really, better. So, what are the perks of being Ricky Gervais? Well, I quite like it. What are the perks? I know. Okay, I know. Okay, if you mean not just being me as a person, but as like a known person or what I do, what's the perks of being me and everything I do? I think it's the fact that when I go out every morning and I scruffle dogs, I can see a dog and I go, hello. And the owner, because they recognise me off the telly or whatever, they don't think that's a maniac trying to trying to steal one. And they go, oh hello, and I'm allowed to scruffle. Jane says it's the best thing about like wherever I am. They go, that's the bloke off the telly. He's allowed to scruffle my dog. So it's that. I think dogs. A lot of the dogs know a lot of the great work I've done because they seem to like me. We get there's a lot like because oh he doesn't usually like people or oh he likes you. I always feel good. I feel really special, like I've got a superpower. Like, so I think that's my best one. Karen, did the audience actors know that Derek was going to sing without knowing the words? or had you failed to tell them on purpose? They looked so convincingly like they were nearly pissing themselves with laughter. No, they're good actors. No, it was all planned. It was all planned that um, sometimes you don't even do it at the same time. Sometimes you let the sort of background cast or people rest. You do the thing, and then you bring them in, or vice versa. But if it's a big crowd, if you've got a big crowd, like Life on the Road, for example, if I was doing a concert at Life on the Road, all those extras, they cost a lot of money. So to have them all day being filmed, it's a nightmare. Also, where to keep them. So what you usually do is you do all the bits you need to do and get them, and then you bring the extras in, let them react to all the songs in one go, and let them go, because always got to think of costs. I think people don't realise how much everything costs per hour. Like the reason they make you get on the plane they keep you hanging around for hours. Then you've got 2 minutes to get on the plane. It's because those planes, like when a jumbo jet is at Heathrow at the terminal, that costs them. They have to pay like 10 grand per minute to stay there. That's why they get you on quick. So it's sort of like that with filming. You're paying everyone lots of money by the hour. You can't just have people go, yeah, we'll come to it. So no, and they knew. You can do some things are ad lib and they might laugh, but sometimes you don't want them to laugh. Particularly with my stuff. If I'm doing something that's a cringy bit of stand-up or song, I don't want them to think it's good. You want them to sort of look. But that was meant to be funny, so we said, this is meant to be funny, so laugh, and they did. Simple as that. Yeah, realism. A lot of realism doesn't come because you haven't told them. The realism comes because they're good actors and they can convincingly look shocked or happy or surprised. Julia, if you could spend 1 hour with anyone on the planet to ask them questions and discuss ideas with, who would it be and what would you talk about? Edward O. Wilson. My favourite living scientist. I bet some of you haven't even got a favourite living scientist, have you? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Rick, you're so cool, you're so rock and roll, right? How can you have a favourite scientist, you nerd? Well, because science is cool. Science is really cool. It is. A lot of scientists are rock stars of their day. The things they said, they could be put to death, some scientists. They were fucking rock and roll. Darwin, can't say we're from apes, not God. I mean, that's rock and roll. So Edward O. Wilson, and quickly, his main study in science is insects, but from that, he he knows all about the human condition, and where are we from and what are we doing, where we're going, and he knows about everything, evolutionary biology, anthropology, morality. I talked to him about. He's got one thing that says that there's only about 20 species, right? There's about 6 to 8 million species, right? And he's looked at this, and there's only 20 species that have developed this thing where they nurture their young in the nest till they're, they can fend for themselves. That's quite rare. And they have specialised jobs. And those species that have done that are dominant in their field. Most of those are insects, right? And the dominant ones that have done it are like social insects, ants, bees, wasps. And the other one is us, right? And whatever species does that sort of dominates in their field. So I talked to him about that and how he worked that out. So yeah, Edward O. Wilson. Check him out. Val, is it true that people become mellow with age, or does it depend on the person? Are you more relaxed about some things now than when you were younger? Yeah, it depends. Some things I'm more mellow about, and some things I'm more angry about. Like, I never really cared about politics. I went through the phase at sort of, 15, 16, thinking I was Che Guevara. But then you think, there's no point. But I realise the thing that makes my blood boil is obviously animal cruelty and all injustice, all those things, those documentaries I've watched where people have gone to jail, for 30 years just because the prosecutor wanted to get a quick. I just think, well, what can we? They can't give them that time. So things like that, I'm more angry about than I ever was. Like wasted time when you take away someone's time. Then other things that I was probably, I don't know. I don't think I have mellowed. Uh, because I was never, I was only ever verbally brave. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I used to go out and steal cars and get into fights. It's not like I ran a gang. I was cheeky at school, then I was cheeky at work. Now being cheeky is my job. So I haven't had to downgrade my outrageous behaviour and bravery because it was only ever verbal. So I don't think I have mellowed, no. And in many ways, I've gone the opposite way. That I think freedom of speech is a fundamental human right that all others come from. So if anything, I've got slightly more militant on the people's right to freedom of speech, which is sort of part of my job, I think. Freedom of speech. So I selfishly want that, but it happens to be the best thing for everyone. Yeah, good question that. Leopold and Loveday. If you witnessed a murder, think Hitchcock, Rear Window, and no one believed you, how would you deal with it? Oh, that's funny. We were just sort of talking about that, weren't we? A, go Columbo and solve it on your own. If I could be like that, if it could be like me from the safety of maybe anything, going into their flat like he does in Rear Window, forget it. Pretend it never happened. That'd be tough. If I could, no, I don't think I could do that. Even if I was absolutely fucking shit scared, I couldn't pretend it never happened. Use your intelligence and cunning to trick the murderer into confessing. Excuse me, did you murder that person the other night? Yeah. What? Let me just take. What? Yes. Okay. I'm going to call the police now. I'd be hard to trick. Oh my God. Well, I don't know. I mean, isn't there just one call the police and just say, oh, they don't believe me, do they? Oh, I see what you mean. There you go. Don't be stupid, mate. It would actually go Columbo because I couldn't sleep at night thinking that no one believed me. No, I'd have to go Columbo. Yeah, solve it myself. Fucking hell. Now I end up dead. All because of that fucking stupid question from Leopold Loveday. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You will not get George Clooney or Steven Spielberg or anyone doing this shit like I do. Never. Maybe once. I tried to drag Sam Harris down to my level on my phone. I'll do a sort of regular thing with Sam Harris, and usually I'm asking him questions about science and stuff and have a conversation. But this time I decided to throw in some questions like this shit that I get, and usually he's way out above me. So he's so much more intelligent than me and knows everything. And with these questions, I'm king. So you idiots have made me brilliant at this sort of shit because he was floundering. He was floundering with the stupid fucking questions that I have to answer from cats and dogs. So in this arena of answering stupid questions, what would you rather do? I'm better than Sam Harris. Wait till you hear it. It's really good. It's really funny. Some people, Scarlet. Some people say dogs don't recognise themselves in the mirror. But I know the mirror shows my mum with me. Of course you do, yeah. I love our ruin at dogs watching Afterlife. Do you think Auntie recognises herself on screen as Dog Brandy? I don't know. I don't know if she sits down and watches things that she's in. Maybe. I think she would. Because, dogs can tell different barks and noises. They've got different accents. So I reckon she'd go, that was me. Do you think, oh, that's the set of Afterlife. I think she probably would go, that's a dog and that's what I sound like. I don't know what your thought patterns are like, Scarlett. I don't know if you think in English. But I reckon a dog does recognise itself in the mirror. It might not the first time, but then I think it sort of gets, oh, that's me. But do they even have a sense of self? Does a dog think me? That's me. See, that's a question for Sam Harris, isn't it? But without does Annie recognise herself on screen? Good questions, these. I'm enjoying this. I'm going to miss this, guys. Mitzi and Misty. Hi, Uncle Ricky. May I call you Uncle? Yeah, why not? All other cats and dogs do. Our question is, what sends you to sleep in a good way? With Misty, it's a shoulder massage, and I enjoy a nap when my mum plays the guitar. With me, it's music. I've got a little playlist. If I have a quick nap, we've got like a playlist of like sort of indie folk, sort of the stuff I like. And I don't know if that's just because you like it and it relaxes you, or because it's a trigger, like muscle memory. You remember that track. Because I always seem to fall asleep about the same time, and I always seem to wake up on the same song. So I think it might be some sort of conditioning, as opposed to just relaxing. Because sometimes if you're stressed, you've got to get up, but you don't because you're thinking about stuff. But I think it might be some sort of trigger that your body learns. But it's definitely music. I couldn't fall asleep to talk. Well, maybe I could if it was a meditation tape. But no, I'm pretty good at falling asleep as well, if I'm tired. I can't do that thing that people do when they fall asleep on a fucking bus or a train or at the theatre. I could never do that. I'd go unless I like on a plane. I make a bed and put earplugs in and go to sleep. But I've never just fallen asleep at work or something. I don't think how can you do that? How tired are you? I never fall asleep at school. If I'd stayed up, I never. I mean, my eyes sting and I want to go to, but I'll go and have a nap. But this just, that's never happened. Titch, do you own a back scratcher, Uncle? Or do you get Auntie Jane to scratch it? Or do you rub yourself up and down the door frame, like my daddy does, and then resemble Baloo from Jungle Book? That one. I haven't got a back scratcher. I think I did have one once, like years ago. I think I did have one. But I rarely get an itchy back. Sometimes I'm walking along, I might go, oh, Jane, just got that. Or if it's a big scratch and I've got a coat on, it's against a tree. It's against a barky tree, a big barky tree. Unless I'm in my house. And then there's usually somewhere around in it, a pen or something. But no, to answer your question, I do not officially own a back scratcher. No. Great question. In amongst all the science. Flying through, aren't we? Joey, you awaken. You awaken to find swearing now has a consequence. One of the following body parts will grow each time you swear. Here we go. Your big toes, right? Here we go. B, your winky. Joey, you shouldn't be talking about my winky. C, your nose. Right, okay, I've got questions here. Which do you choose? Right. Do you mean like Pinocchio, like they go and they know you're lying and then it goes back to normal? Or do you mean every time I swear, those things get bigger and bigger? Until I've either got like 28-foot toes, a 90-foot winky, or 300-foot nose. Like, do you know what I mean? If it's permanent, I don't know what. If it just keeps growing, then I just don't know what. I mean, they're all awful. If it's just temporary, they just go and then back. Also, do I care? If I've sworn, then they know I swore. So it's not like lying where they go, oh, you're lying. They go, you swore. I go, yeah, I know I did. I know I fucking did. So I don't know. Does it hurt? Well, you wouldn't see the winky in the toes, would you? If your winky grew like a few inches, it's just like you wouldn't. No one would know. Same with toes, unless it was really fucking painful in my shoes or something. It just like crunched, the bones crunched. Every time I swore. I suppose that's depending on how big and how much it hurt. I suppose the nose. Just so I'd swear for the sake. If it shocked people, I go, all right, yeah, you're right, you're okay, fucking. I go, ooh, and they go, what was that? I go, fuck knows. So fucking hell, Joey, you idiot. Your last question was stupid as well. Well done, well done, Rosie. Do you believe there are aliens? I don't like the term, but other life forms. If you do, how closely do you imagine they are to our level of intelligence, technology? Do you think they would drink booze and end up in buckets like us? Yeah. Well, do I believe there are aliens? I believe aliens could exist. It's not like some people say, oh, if you don't believe in God, do you believe in aliens? Well, it's not the same thing, because a belief in God, that I don't believe in God because I have no evidence. And it seems man-made and very unlikely. Whereas, however unlikely aliens are, we're proof that there is a life form in the universe. It's not like I've got one God, I've got God, so I might as well believe in the others. I go, well, there probably are others because I've got proof of this God. I haven't got proof of any gods, whereas I have got proof of a life form on a planet, in us and everything else. There's millions of examples. We've got 8 million examples, and that's 1%. So there's been hundreds of millions of examples of life forms on a planet by a sun. So there's no reason to not believe there are aliens of some sort. Although the chances of there being an alien on the right size planet, which is it's got to be the right size planet, it's got to be the right distance from its sun, It's got of course. There's lots. It's like astronomical, but luckily it is astronomical because even though it's billions to one, there are fucking billions and billions of suns and planets. So the likelihood is that there is something so far away that it'll probably never reach us. I don't know if it's intelligent like us, but you know, billions of years produces something. It might be based on something else. Intelligence might not be an advantage. You know, I think that's what people think. They think they're going to see this little thing that has got, you know, bilateral symmetry, where intelligence and dexterity. But I think it's going to be a big slug. I told you before, it's going to be a big fucking slug. You're going to get there and you're going to go, hi. And go, hello. And you go, tell us all about politics. And you go, I don't fucking know about politics. I just eat my own shit. It works here. And you go, for fuck's sake. So you're used to going, they're fucking useless. And I think it's going to be disappointing. I hope that answers your question. Gunner, right? Could afterlife, supernature, and bollocks really be a personal Gedanken experiment for me? A Gedanken experiment. That's a thought experiment. Like Schrodinger's cat. What does he mean? Could afterlife, supernature, and bollocks be a personal... Oh! Do you mean me doing them was a thought experiment to see how they'd go down, or working through all the things that I care about and worry about? Is that what you mean? Like almost like a cross between therapy and investigation and an art project? If you mean that, sort of, yeah. I mean, you start off to entertain and you have an idea, but then you do get into stuff, like it becomes something. Like Derek became a study in kindness, and it didn't start off like that. It started off with what was funny about being, you know, innocent and childlike and just liking the world. But in my head, the evolution seemed that he'd stumble on the only shortcut that works is kindness. So that was, yeah. God, Gunner, imagine that as a question from a dog. Okay, now, right, last question. I got too much. I lost my therapy dog, Susie Hope. I'm Trey. Around the same time you lost beautiful Ollie. Now you have perfect pickle. I'm thinking of another rescue, but feel so guilty. Any advice? Oh, you mustn't feel guilty. I know what you mean. You think, oh, you're betraying, you know, but that's just not the case. That's just because we're emotionally attached. But what you've got to think of is there's a dog that needs you to adopt it. You're saving a life. So that's why you've got to think of it. If you feel guilty but you don't save a dog, care about the dog. So it's a no-brainer. Adopt another dog. Save a life. But I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. You sort of feel guilty to be loving this new cat or dog when it isn't around, but they're not in any pain. So always adopt a new dog or cat. Right, last question. Brenda, hi Ricky. Does comedy have to mean anything? No. Do you mean, does it have to have a hidden meaning, like, oh, that was very satirical, and he's bringing down the Vietnamese government? Genius. No, it doesn't need to mean anything. It doesn't need to be. Mine is vaguely social satire, but it doesn't need to have a meaning other than, did it make you laugh? It can be as visceral as someone falling over. If you see someone fall over and their glasses come off, for example, their glasses and their top hat come off, that doesn't mean anything, does it? You can make it mean more in comedy, in written comedy. Like in real life, there's no meaning to someone slipping over. They didn't mean to do it. I talk about this on one of the Sam Harris podcasts where they reckon the first joke was one caveman seeing another caveman hit his head. And it's about empathy. Because that one who laughs is laughing because he knows that other caveman didn't mean to do it because he's done it. So it's about empathy. But it doesn't mean anything. And in written comedy, you can make it mean more. Like, if there's someone you like and they've done a good deed and they fall over and their top hat comes up on their glass, that's not as funny if someone who's just been pretentious or something. So you can make it mean more. You can up the stakes. But no, comedy doesn't have to mean anything. Comedy just has to elicit some sort of response. Not even a laugh. People laugh when they feel guilty about laughing. They're laughing because they can't help it. You can't help it. You can't help what you find funny. So it doesn't mean anything. It's visceral. It's just funny. I mean, does this mean anything? Me answering questions from fucking cats and dogs? Right, good. Then another one. I'm going to go and eat and drink wine. Thank you, everyone. Cheers. It's nearly a year of this absolute shite. Thanks for tuning in. Please retweet it. Listen to the Sam Harris stuff. I retweet. Just retweet it. That's all. And be kind to animals. Tatty bye, everyone. Tatty bye.